It's the Gear Tester here, and welcome to my first range report on the Sig P365. Alright guys, it's a Gear Tester here, and welcome to Range Report 1 on the Sig P365. This is an interesting little gun with its 12 round magazine, little extended mag that I've got right here. It's got twice as many bullets in it as my Glock 43. I don't own a Sig P365. They've had some issues, and this particular gun is doing some things that are not awesome, but it's being 100% reliable and it's hitting where I'm aiming. And I just think you should compare and contrast that there together. It's a pretty amazing thing to have a gun that's this small. When I shoot the Sig P365, what I feel like I'm shooting is something closer to the size of a Glock 26. It's recoil impulse. I think it's also because you've got twice the amount of bullets in it. It's just a heavier overall little gun. But that's good weight because it's basically all bullet weight, right? So there's an interesting little gun. I really didn't believe that it was the same size as the Glock 43, and it's actually got basically a shorter overall length on it. And with the, of course, with the 12 round mag, I can get a full grip on it, and it's longer. But with the standard mag in it, we're looking at basically the same exact size. I figured that the Sig P365 almost tried to shove my 12 round Sig mag into there. Maybe there's some envy, maybe that was subconscious, but This is a pocket pistol, and I really thought that it was not a pocket-sized pistol. The grip angle means it shoots in a very characteristic way, closer to the Carpium 9 that I owned and shot for a really long time and enjoyed that gun, because it's a more vertical grip angle rather than angled back like the Glocks. But a very, very interesting gun. This is one of my friend's P365s from Sig, and he has encountered some problems with them. Some of you will know that there have been some systemic problems with this little gun. I think Sig is trying to work them out, and he's just going to talk about some of the problems he's encountered. I would be clear that for the shooting and stuff that I did for this review, that the gun worked flawlessly. So, take it away, my man.
So there have been two systemic problems, according to other channels on YouTube and other anecdotal stories, that the gun has a problem with the striker, which I'm sure many people know. I have not had any problems, but I do have striker drag, which you'll see in photos. And the problem that I had immediately after I got the gun was right here with the trigger bar. If it is cut too short, when the trigger comes back, right there, that spring will pop free, and you'll have a dead trigger unless you turn the gun upside down. And then it will reset.
That's something I like to do in the middle of a gunfight, is turn my gun upside down.
Right. And then if it's too long, you can see that the other end is right here. And it turns out that your magazine slides and rides right against the back of that part of the frame. And if it's too long, you'll see on the back of your magazine a couple of wear marks. This doesn't have it bad at all, but it will be significantly scratched and dented, and eventually that will cause the spring to break. And then you'll have, again, the same failure. So some people have figured out that they buy extra long ones. They'll cut this one side to the... You can buy aftermarket springs, or you can buy them straight from Sig. And you'll cut this one short, and they'll leave this one extra long. I got this used, and the company I bought it from, I said, hey, every 5 to 20 rounds, my spring is falling out.
So this is like your local firearm store.
Right. And they took care of me. They sent it back to Sig. Sig replaced the part. And the thing is, it's a really cheap part. It's like 10, 20 bucks. But it's really irritating if your gun doesn't work. So that's the problems I had. Once they sent it to Sig and Sig sent it back, I've had zero failures to my knowledge.
You're not having that needing to flip the gun upside down.
Oh, no.
Get the trigger bar. Okay.
So
the problem's fixed. You just needed that $20 part.
Right. It was visually obvious that you couldn't see any bit of the spring. And when you pull this back, notice that the spring... See if I can get that in there. The spring changes its location. Yeah. So if it comes right there, and then you have the recoil of the gun, it will pop free.
Okay, alrighty. Another thing to point out about the Sig 365 here is the fact that it is modular. So you could get the the longer frame. In essence, it'd be like being able to slam the Glock 43X slide onto your standard 43, which you can do, but would need completely different mags. This means that you'd be able to use that, right?
Yeah, you'd be able to make this gun a 12-round flush fit. And the magazine, if I'm not mistaken, will work. You just have to buy a different base plate.
Okay, different base plate. All right.
But it's the same size if you just do it.
But this is modular like your other SIG pistol that you've got.
Right.
Okay.
Like your P320.
Okay, cool. And I'll throw some footage of us shooting that gun in here, guys, with a tan lower on it, which is pretty cool. I like this black. My hand's a little bit smaller, and I like that black grip because I can really get my fingers around it and get a full grip on the gun. I can shoot it with the other grip as well, but it's cool to have that modularity, as well as being able to switch up the color so you can be stylish. I've had the opportunity to play around a little bit with this Sig P320, and I think that it's cool that you've got the modular lowers or modular grips that you can pop components quickly and efficiently out of. I think sometimes that leads to the user continually switching the grips and never really settling on one. There is some amazing simplicity with just having one grip and just learning to shoot it well. All right, tell us a little bit about your feelings about Sig as a company.
Sig makes great stuff. However, their customer service is for the first user or for factory refurbished stuff. If I tried to go and register this gun under my name, I don't know until I try, to my knowledge, if the gun was registered by somebody else. And if it was, Sig won't cover this under their warranty like other companies.
Okay, so it's not like if you have it in your possession, they'll take care of you. You have to have been the first person to register it as yours. They're not really into the secondary market.
Right, but if you buy it through a company that has, like I did, my local gun store, who had a 2 or 3 week, no questions asked, if it has problems, bring it back, it's a used gun. Then that's how I got the warranty to work. Technically, though, many companies have a clause that says if you're not the first owner, you can't prove that you won't be able to take the gun back.
But Sig seems to use that, whereas other companies don't.
Right.
Okay.
But, again, it was a very cheap part, so you got to decide how much you care when it comes to these two issues.
This particular handgun suffers from another problem that I'm really worried about, and that is firing pin drag. Firing pin drag occurs after the gun has been discharged and the firing pin is protruding out of the internal rear face of the slide. As the gun unlocks and begins the process of extracting the round, the firing pin is dragged across the upper top portion of the primer, and this leads to unnecessary stress and potentially breakage. It's very troubling to me that the Sig P365 family of guns suffers from this problem, and that even after this particular handgun has gone back to the Sig factory to have another internal component fixed or replaced, that firing pin drag is still occurring. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the description of this video and I'll try and respond. I'm working on my second range report on the Sig P365. I've also done a number of reviews on other pocket pistols like the Glock 43 and the Smith & Wesson Model 442, as well as reviews on the M&P Shield, a little bit bigger than a standard pocket pistol, the Carpium 9, which is definitely in the pocket pistol category, as well as the Glock 26 and many others. If you're interested in those reviews, there will be a link here at the end of this video to a playlist entitled Pocket Pistols Reviewed by TheGearTester. Pocket Pistols Reviewed by TheGearTester. If there's a subcompact or compact pistol or revolver that I have not reviewed, that I've not produced a range report or full-length review on it, please leave a comment down below and let me know what firearms you'd like to see me review, what firearms you'd like to see me do a couple range reports and then a full-length review on, and I'll consider purchasing those. Having a YouTube channel has been an awesome experience over the last 8+ years that I've had a YouTube channel, and I always like interacting with you, my valued viewers and subscribers. Thank you so much for your views and your subscriptions. My goal has always been here at the TheGearTester YouTube channel to produce quality video reviews on the topics of shooting, camping, and survival gear. When I began work on this first range report on the Sig P365, I actually thought it was going to end up being a negative video. I might just do one range report on the gun because I expected it to have problems. And I actually found that this particular Sig P365 actually worked very reliably for me. I found that I was able to hit my targets consistently, and I was very, very impressed with the accuracy and reliability of this particular and specific Sig P365. There are many videos on the internet showing Sig P365s malfunctioning and having a lot of problems. This particular one didn't, and I was actually very impressed with the effectiveness of this little gun. It's a little bit larger with the 12-round magazine for me than a standard pocket pistol. It's a little bit heavier, and it kind of falls into a category that's a little bit bigger, a little bit heavier than I'd want it for a pocket pistol, but it's an amazing and very interesting little gun.